The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser-cut dice towers, tokens, and more developed by a gamer for gamers and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin with a tragic past.
I'm Kiri Hester, and I play Poppy Tealeaf, a highborn halfling druid searching for a new life.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Xonimus Dinar, a half-elf rogue with a past he can't seem to escape.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Mak'ren Stoneshaper, a young dwarf sorcerer setting out to understand his own arcane gifts.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Caliban Frontier. You have started to get ready to finally begin the task that has been laid out before you. The mapping of the Caliban Frontier. Getting your supplies in order and saying some final farewells to the people of the last stop that you have come to know and love. You're sitting out with Yazgash enjoying, a fine orcish-made breakfast when you're interrupted by the whinny of a horse. The hoofbeats come closer and closer until a beautiful brown and white animal comes to a stop in front of the stables. A young elven man swings off the animal's back, tossing his long, dark hair decorated with owlbear feathers out of his face as he turns and looks at Yazgash and just, Mother Yazgash, the McKee family, they're missing. So Yazgash just, her eyebrows knit together and just, missing? What do you mean, Windrunner? How could they be missing? But that's just it, Mother. I don't know.
What direction is the McKee Ranch?
It's half a day's travel from here. I could take you.
To what direction?
Just to the south as the crow flies.
And when you say they're missing, how many were in this family of the McGees?
Well, there's Anthony and his husband Samson and Sarah, their daughter. And then I think the last time I was there, they had just two hands. Sylvain and Cal, I think, were their names.
I want to look to the boy. Describe what you saw.
Well, I came to the house, and I knocked. I went in. Things looked a little messy, but, I'm not quite sure how people keep their houses out in the frontier. But there was furniture and open doors. And the horses were somewhat panicked. It looked as though someone hadn't taken care of them in several days. So I stopped and, I got them water and food and made sure they were okay. I mean, they're beautiful animals, gorgeous. And then I came back because I knew that Riza or someone needed to know.
Inside the house, what did it smell like?
Nothing that I can really think of. There was no scent of recently made food or...
But you said it seemed like the horses hadn't been taken care of in a few days, more than just 2 days, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it was Smokes, Xonimus. If that's where you were thinking, I don't think, because he just lit out of here just, a day and a half ago.
And he was in jail.
From that way.
And he was in jail.
Yeah.
Did it seem like the place had been robbed? The horses weren't gone, so apparently it wasn't...
No, the horses weren't gone, and as I said, I didn't do a very thorough search of the home, but it didn't look as if they had been robbed. I did not find bodies or anything.
Well, gang, it seems like we have a mystery on our hands.
Why, yeah. I think we should head out. Yazgash, do you mind if we borrow a couple horses just to get down to the McGee's?
Yes, give me just a moment. And she gets up from where she's been lounging and goes into the stables to grab a couple of... they have some horses there that are for rent for just short rides. It takes a few minutes for her to get them saddled up and ready to go, but she returns and...
And have we got a saddle hooked up now for Wildfire?
Yeah, he came with one.
Oh, that's right.
He had his goblin saddle on him already. Mm-hmm.
And have you been working on that?
This morning.
I think I saw you flop over just
But you did not see nothing of the sort.
All right.
This mystery's in the opposite direction.
It is, but they're also the people that we're going to buy the horses from.
We have to find them so we can pay them for
Okay.
the horses.
On our way out of town, this is going to sound weird. I need to stop at the general store.
Are we gonna come back to get our stuff later? Are we gonna like set out for the frontier?
No, we
from
got to
there?
come back.
We're gonna come
We
back.
got to come
We're
back.
going-
But
yeah,
if there's something
so-
you got to get,
I lost my lucky deck, and I know it's not going to be the same, but I need to buy another deck of cards.
it's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah, but say you head over to the general store. You know, they're open for business.
I'll just go right up to the counter and point to packs. I need a pack of cards.
Yeah, Hannah, actually, it's one of her sons in the morning, but yeah, he picks up the cards and hands them to you.
And the stuff that got delivered, was that from here?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll reach into my pouch to pull out coin to pay her and bump my hand into my deck of lucky cards like it's been there the whole time. And I'll pull them out and look at them. And then I remember there's a few that are different.
Let's say Jubilee did give you some.
As I remember
Last
that
night.
Jubilee found some cards and thought they were mine, so they gave them to me. And I'll set a coin on top of the new pack and slide them both back across the counter and tell her never mind. And walk out thumbing through these cards.
Okay. They thrum with a strange power. You're not 100% sure, but you think that they're enchanted in some way. Each one has a different illustration of a different creature.
Well, I remember being angry and throwing them across the room. And when I woke up, there wasn't a mess of cards, but the table was like someone hit it with a tree a couple times. I should probably go back and pay for that table. All right.
Just real quick, do you have some manacles?
But
Don't go there.
One of Hannah's son, who's kind of behind the counter, just kind of looks at you and, well, no, that would definitely fall under special requests.
All right.
We don't typically have to keep those out here. Reza might have set if you need them. For
Oh, I thought maybe
reasons.
just in case, you never know when you might need a pair of manacles.
This halfling boy. He's in his 20s. He's about your age, Poppy. He's just kind of.
I think this is only Kiri's brain. I'm not really sure, but
Okay, well, I thank you, and could you tell your ma that we did get the goods that we'd ordered?
Oh, yes,
they
sir.
are in storage right now over at the Long Rest, and so we thank you, and we will make sure to settle with you before we leave town right now. We might be having trouble with the McGees, and so if you could let her know that...
The McKee family?
Yes.
The horse farmers?
Right, and so we're going to head down there. They might have gone missing, so if you could just let her know that we will be right back probably within the next day or so once we find out what's going on there.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. I mean, I know Mother found it odd that they hadn't. They usually come into town every 4 to 5 days, and we haven't seen them in this week.
Well, thank you, and just let her know, and then head out.
I'll be the last one to leave the store. I'm going to lean over the counter. How's your mom?
She's doing fine, sir.
She out run some errands right now?
Well, yes, and she's taking care of the little ones, my sisters.
Must be a handful.
Indeed.
Tell her I said hi, and I'll try and meet up with her again before we leave town.
Yes, sir.
I'll walk out.
All right. If there's nothing else, then y'all gather up in front of the stables. Windrunner has already mounted back up on his horse and looks at you all and says, well, if you're ready, I will take you.
I do want some slight shenanigans here. I would like to do a quick speak with animals and tell Wildfire this plan, and I need him to go along with it. Wherein I know that I can ride this wolf, but I want it to look like I'm not very good at it yet.
Wildfire kind of cocks his head, curious as to... Because you must remember, you're dealing with the mind of an animal.
Yes. Yes. Essentially just saying, it's not you, it's me. I'm doing this on purpose. It's okay. And then I'm just gonna, we're getting ready to go, and I don't know if I'm just quite capable of... Wildfire and I are still working on our bond, and I just don't know if I'm quite ready to ride him quite by myself yet. I was wondering, Windrunner, if I could ride maybe with you.
Okay. Windrunner just like... kind of, he's got like a tuft of the horse's mane in his hand, and he leans over with his other hand, extending it out to you for you to take it.
I take it,
Right,
and
so
I hold on tight.
Yeah, he grips your hands very tightly as he pulls you up and sets you down in front of him. He scoots back a little bit, tries to reach around you. Hold on tight.
Of course. I do. Hold on tight.
And just kind of looks over at the rest of y'all and just says, so, are we ready to go?
I'm grinning really big, and I say, "Don't let her fall off, Windrunner." And when I make eye contact, my whole expression changes. That was a threat, not a friendly piece of advice.
Windrunner just kind of, you see some of the color drain from his face, and just, okay, yeah, all right, let's go. It's gonna be about half a day to get to the McKee family farm. Are you sure you want to ride with me? Don't you want to ride with one of them like they're your friends?
Listen, we're not on the best of terms with them quite right this moment, so I think that this is great. And I feel like this is really going to help me. You're so good at riding, and maybe I could learn some things. And I don't think that they're very good. And Xonimus's bark is worse than his bite. Do not mind him any.
Okay.
And I give him a reassuring pat on the leg. Just a light, nice platonic pat.
Okay.
Yeah, Windrunner just kind of nods, and like you're looking over and you see Mazga and Yazgash are kind of poking their head out of like the side of the stable, and you just see Yazgash just has thumbs up and is nodding.
I give her a wink.
So, question. Mechanically, do we need to have a ride skill, or is it going to be an athletics check, or are we just going to have a default that we know how to do this?
So basic riding, just point A to point B, not doing anything fancy. No check.
Okay, good.
Obviously, if we're going into a high-speed chase and you're trying to do crazy stunts, then that's where some animal handling will get involved.
Very good. Thank you
For
very
the
much.
most part, we all know how to ride horses.
Very good. As a player, I didn't know if Mak'ren needed to be over at Xonimus going, "Hey, gonna ride behind you." Right.
City folk.
So back to the text.
So we head out.
Right before we head out,
no, wait, we gotta-
I'm going to awkwardly, at a little higher than normal volume, say, "I know it looks like we're heading out for good, but unfortunately we've got to make a detour before we go. We'll be back through here soon." I'm just going to look in the dark shadows in the corners of the stables.
Give me a perception check.
Indeed I will. 18.
18. Okay, you see it kind of popping up from one of the barrels. You see the long, lizardly snout of your little kobold friend, who just tweaks an eyebrow and just kind of looks at you and tilts his head. He points at himself, and then he points back at you and makes a motion like running with his fingers. You think he's maybe asking if you would like him to come along.
I'm going to just casually say, "How fast are these horses?" to Yaz. Well, I'm kind of looking at him like,
Yaz
"Can you
kind
keep
of-
up?"
Yaz kind of shrugs a little bit. Oh, depends on how fast you push them. Don't push them too hard. They are good, strong animals, but they
Well,
do need love and care.
we're just going in a straight line due south to the horse ranch, so I guess that should be all right.
You get a little thumbs
Cock an
up.
eyebrow.
I do want to be clear that Wildfire is going to come with us. I'm just not going to ride him with the idea of that I will ride him back after I have learned some things from Windrunner.
I give a look over at
I'm
Gideon.
staring a hole through Gideon.
Remember, Gideon does not actually notice any of this. Gideon's been ready to go for him.
Here's a mystery to solve. He's a detective.
All I'm thinking about is what I got to do next.
I just have this look of, I hope I don't roll a 1 and shoot a stray bullet somewhere out of nowhere later on in this adventure. I'm not telling you who you can and can't date.
I'm not dating anybody. I am riding a horse.
Oh God, let's go.
So,
Mak'ren thinks to himself, last night must have been tougher on Xonimus than I thought. He's talking to the air. He's looking around.
He's missing his cards.
He can't find his cards. He's making obvious announcements about the horses and where we're going. Like, we all know this, but I don't say anything out loud.
Maybe he's our exposition guy.
Johnny Exposition.
Howdy friends, Michael Cross here, taking just a few moments away from Red Dirt DnD, asking you to become a patron of this podcast. Your support means we can add a lot of extra niceties to the show in the form of artwork and music, as well as supporting our cast and crew. Patrons get early access to content as well as bonus material, along with access to our Discord server. You can even get an invite to monthly Q&A sessions and DM classes, maybe even a 2-hour game session with our very own Dungeon Master, Ash King. We have 6 different monthly levels to choose, ranging from $5 to $100. Head over to patreon.com/Red Dirt DnD right now to show your support for this new podcast. Now, back to Tales from the Caliban Frontier.
The McKee horse farm is a half a day's travel from the last stop. It is said in the region that the horses raised by the McKee family are the hardiest in all the frontier, able to withstand the harsh conditions of life here in the Caliban better than any other. Yazgash sent Windrunner to make an inquiry for you to see if they had any mounts available for sale. The wild elf instead returned with alarming news. The McKee family is missing. As Windrunner leads you to the farm, all appears quiet, other than the gentle noises of the horses in their fenced-in paddocks. All seems serene. The animals kind of look over you all as you approach with curious but wary eyes, their ears gently flicking in your direction to see if they can tell what's going on.
Is there any kind of fencing around this area, besides the one that's corralling for the horses, but just the house itself? Is there any kind of fence?
No, there's really not. 'Cause, they just have the paddocks where the horses are, and then the house itself is a fairly large ranch house. Again, these are people who, they live off the land, they live on the land, so everything they need is here, other than the few times that they head into town for supplies that they can't make or find themselves. But the architecture is very similar to that of the last stop. It's kind of that Pueblo mud structure and exposed timber, very rustic, very Western, clearly obviously built by hand. But it has that same style of wide veranda porch with the exposed columns. The door itself right now is closed, probably because Windrunner, when he left, just went ahead and shut it, so that way it wasn't like, oh, hey, the door's open, come on in. But yes, other than that, very, very rustic, very, very homespun.
I look over at the elf. I say, Windrunner, why don't you lead us in? Just because if they have returned, I don't think they want 4 strangers just walking in. They know who you are. So we will follow your lead going into the house, and maybe we can investigate, see what's going on here.
Windrunner gives a nod and he hops down off of his mount and no hesitation approaches the door. Knocks first, because that's just polite, but then tries the handle and it's still unlocked. And so he opens it up and pokes his head in. Anthony, Samson, Sarah, hello, hello.
And I follow in behind and start looking around. What I'm really interested in is, has there looked like there's been any kind of forceful entry or any kind of damage, as if there's been a struggle of any kind?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
19.
19? Okay. So there are definitely signs of a struggle. So basically, entering into the main room, it's basically entering into their kitchen and dining room area. Like, the table is kind of at an odd angle where it looks like, maybe somebody bumped into it. There's one chair that's just, kind of tipped over as if someone stood up very quickly and the chair, fell behind them. There's some things that are just kind of like knocked over and knocked around. But from what it looks like, nothing's been taken. None of the physical goods of the house have been disturbed. The other thing that you're starting to notice as you're closely inspecting, you start to see tufts of fur. It's a very russet-colored fur.
I grab the fur and I walk over to Poppy and I say, Poppy, does this look familiar to you at all?
I don't know. Does it look familiar?
Give me a nature check.
My nature's not great, despite being a druid. It's gonna be a nat 1.
Nat 1.
But I do get an idea. Well, Gideon, I haven't been out of the city that often, and it doesn't seem super familiar from this point of view, but let me try something else. And I'm going to go ahead and switch back into a wolf.
Okay.
and try to sniff it.
Okay.
So that essentially gets me advantage as a wolf.
Yeah, I'll say I'll allow it.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
a thing.
Well,
Keen senses?
keen senses. I would actually say, so for the keen senses, that would be more if you were like, I'm going to get the scent of this fur and try to track down the owner of this fur.
I see.
Because yeah, and especially with that nat 1, because you,
it looks like hair.
it's fur, it's fluff, it's fluffy.
So roll it straight, get advantage.
Roll it straight.
And I use my stats, or I use wolf stats?
Yes. So for anything mental, it's your stat.
And I'm using nature, or can I use perception maybe?
It would still be nature.
Wow, 3.
3.
I shake my head.
Yeah, you sniff it, and the scent itself has dissipated, so it's very very faint, and you're just.
I do want to go outside and see if there's any kind of, now we've got the horse tracks out there, but I want to look to see if there's any other kind of tracks
Okay.
leading to or from the house.
So that would be a survival check.
Meanwhile, I'm sneaking around to the back.
Okay.
13.
So with a 13, you do notice that there is a mix of unexpected tracks. Because, typically, there's a lot of the horse hoof prints, the prints of the work boots, but you're starting to see canine. It's not as large as a wolf. Actually, I would say, so there's a mix. So some of them are smaller than a wolf, but there's some of them that almost look like the size of like a human foot. So smaller and larger.
How far away is the nearest paddock from the house? Are they like quite a ways away? Are they just 30, 40 yards?
Yeah, a good, they're not flush with the house.
For sure.
But they're close enough that someone can get there in a reasonable amount of time in case of an emergency.
You see the wolf stop, the wolf puppy, goes outside and looks around and stops and gets a funny look on its face while it thinks, and then she pops back because she had to think about how to be Poppy. Yes. I'm going to go interrogate these beautiful creatures and see if they know anything. And so I'm going to talk to Windrunner. Why don't you come with me, since they know you, and it might help to have a friendly face. I know you said it seemed like they hadn't been fed in a couple days, but were there any horses in particular that seems like they were in this paddock versus the one over there? What can you tell me about these horses and which one I should interrogate?
So he leads you over to the paddock and very easily just jumps over the fence and tosses his hair back to get it out of his face. But goes over to, it's a particularly noble looking stallion. It's black as midnight, but the color has a little bit of a shine to it on the coat. These horses are a little bit taller and a little bit leggier than your typical. If you're familiar with a Alcal Teke, the desert horses, pretty much that's what you're looking at. So very tall, the fur has an odd shine to it, almost as if it's sparkly.
I scramble through the fence. I don't go if I'm little, so I just go through the gap, and then I will approach very slowly with my hands up, just talking quietly. You're just such a beautiful boy. I'm so excited to get to meet you, and just try. I go that 90, and I'm gonna let him come that 10.
Give me an animal handling check.
15?
15? Okay. Yeah, so with a 15, this horse seems a little hesitant at first because you're a stranger. But with Windrunner there and with you, being very calm, very chill, eventually he does let his guard down a little bit and leans his head down as he comes close and snuffles you to get a good catch of your scent. He snorts a little bit just because, you smell like wolf.
I was about to say, I probably smell like wolf.
But yeah, so you can make friends.
And then I would, if he seems amenable, I would like to cast Speak with Animals and see what he knows. Because I know they don't speak in language, obviously, but I'm hoping that I can see maybe some of his memories from the last couple days and see if anything pops out as being particularly disturbing or terrifying or anything like that.
Again, you're speaking with an animal, so it's the understanding and the mind of an animal. But so horses, since they are prey animals, they're very flighty, they're very nervous. You get that sense, that worry of, my people are gone. Where did my people go? They're supposed to be bringing me the tasty things, the good things. I have not seen them. They left when the strangers came. when the predators came, the dog predators, the long-snouted ones. I don't like to think about it.
I give him a reassuring pat on the nose. I know that was particularly terrifying, but it's okay because me and my pal Windrunner are gonna make sure that you get some extra tasty things, and we're gonna find your people if we can. Hopefully, hooves crossed.
So the horse tosses his head and tosses his mane and just accepts that all will be well in his world again.
And Windrunner, I think we should give this boy some Cheetos, for he has been a very helpful, handsome horse.
The Windrunner gives a nod and goes, yeah, I'll see what I can scrounge around.
And I'm gonna go back to Gideon and report my findings. Look, I can help. It seems that there was some kind of canine-shaped, mean, scary thing. And there were, I believe, humanoid-shaped things as well.
I want to find out what Xonimus has found, but I think I've got an idea of who this is. But I don't know if Gideon would know who this is. But go ahead.
So you make your way around to the back, and you do see a small lizard-like form that's just...
Oh, no!
You!
Hey, it's this far away by horseback. I don't know what you were expecting.
So, how's your day been?
I just stare at him.
Oh, so the silent treatment now. I get it. Yeah,
Well,
whatever. Fine. Yeah,
It's
jeez.
not been a good day. It hasn't been a great few days. You didn't have to come all the way out here. We're not leaving yet. We were on our way out. We had to run by here and check something.
We're gonna go check out the mysterious horse farm, Connor. Gonna go see some interesting animals, Connor.
Are you done?
Never.
What's your story anyway?
Who, me? I'm just a cute little kobold out riding the rails, looking for mischief and trouble. What about you?
Oh, well, you want to sit down and get a little comfortable? It's going to take a while to explain everything from the beginning.
Oh yeah, sure. I think I've got some snacks
turn around
here,
and walk
some
away.
bugs. Would you like one?
I've already turned around and walked away. Help me get in this place.
What? In where?
In this house.
Welcome. Can't you just walk right on in?
I don't want to be the one to try the door. The back door.
Back door?
Is there a back door in this house?
Yeah.
This little kobold just scurries on over to the back door and looks at it. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do?
Open it.
Looks at you very, very suspiciously and grabs the handle. It's above his head. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. It's locked.
All right, I'm going to look around the door. Does it look like it's been tried to be opened before? Anything forced?
Give me a perception check.
20?
No. Absolutely no signs of any sort of forced entry. But you do see, kind of down towards the bottom of the door frame, there's some light scratching, as if dog-sized creature had scraped at the bottom of the door. But other than that, the door's locked, barred.
Is this 2-story?
Yes.
Is there a cellar? Like an access from the outside?
Yeah, you do see where they've kind of got a root cellar there.
Okay. Go over and look at the door of the root cellar. Seem shut, tampered with, anything?
Yeah, shut and barred.
Barred from the outside. I'm going to open the door.
The back door or the cellar door?
The cellar door.
Cellar door?
Cellar door. And I'm going to motion my hand down the steps.
You want me to go first?
You didn't come all this way for nothing, did you?
You're not gonna shut the cellar doors on me, are you?
No, I'd shoot you before I did something like that. You can trust me.
Well, you shoot me, I shoot you back.
He scurries.
Deal.
Scurries on and he flicks the tail and you see, that little bit of magic kind of coming off the back. But yeah, he scurries down in.
I'll run down, listen quietly, look around with my elvish eyes.
Elven eyes. So the cellar, typical root cellar out here. You see a lot of canned goods and provisions. Things have been laid down in case of emergency or...
A family of 5 tied up?
Nope.
No, nothing like that. Okay. Well, I'll head back up. I'll stop at the doorway of the cellar. What are you going to do, Connor?
What
By the
do
time
mean?
you catch your breath, we're going to take off again.
I've got tricks too,
All right.
And in front of your eyes, Connor snaps his fingers and poof, out of sight.
Haha, can't see me.
Unfortunately, I can still hear you. I'll walk back around to the front. No, it's how we communicate.
You somewhat can just hear the scurrying as he It works to catch up to you. But then you kind of sense that he falls into step beside you, but very, very quietly.
When I round the corner and can see the rest of them out there, I'll just make a subtle hand motion down, my knee to, okay, start being careful now. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I'll tongue lash them to death, but I think the hidden message there is because I didn't scream, freak out, or hit you with a broom, we're solid.
So, anything back there?
Everything's locked up tight from, the perspective of it being normal. There was some claw marks on the ground at the back door, but the back door was still locked.
And Poppy said the horse seemed to recognize some kind of dog creatures.
I couldn't get a clear picture, so it could be anything between a wolf, a coyote, and something in between, something bigger.
What do you know about gnolls?
Give me a history check, Xonimus.
That is a 14.
14?
Mm-hmm.
So gnolls in this world, they definitely live far deeper in the desert. General experience with them kind of goes one of two ways. You either run into what are known as the Old Bloods. They're more amicable. They can be reasoned with. They can be dealt with. For the most part, they keep to themselves, and they worship a ancient gnoll mother goddess. The ones you gotta worry about are the Young Bloods, the corrupted ones that walked down the path of darkness. But even then, they generally don't come out this far east.
So in response to, what do you know about gnolls, I'll just say, it ain't gnolls.
Okay, that was just a theory I had. I don't know much about gnolls. I heard dog creatures, and that's the first thing I think of.
Well, dog creatures that would have took off with 4 people.
Well, and also, there was no blood.
Correct.
So
Yeah, there's no signs that anyone got killed or severely wounded.
if you had the scent from these things when you become a wolf, do you think we could follow a track?
I cannot guarantee it. I am still learning my skills, and I can only stay as a wolf for a short period of time. But I could, maybe it's been a few days. We might be better off asking Wildfire.
We do actually have Wildfire with us, so why don't we just ask Wildfire to, can you talk to him and see if we can...
So I'll try first in common before casting, because I need to...
As you're looking towards Wildfire...
How is he taking all of this? Does he seem nervous?
Oh yeah, for the most part, he was just kind of taking it in. Oh yeah, we're out in the country, cool, sweet. And as he's been kind of sniffing around, he's kind of stayed away from the paddocks because the horses aren't taking too kindly to this wolf kicking at him a little bit. So he's made his way over to the house and over towards the porch. And you hear him as he's low to the ground, hackles up, growling at something, kind of snapping a bit underneath the porch.
I will approach cautiously.
Leaping from beneath the porch with a high-pitched yip. It's a coyote. Hackles raise as it attempts to fend off Wildfire, who has gone absolutely nuts.
Bobby, call off.
Without warning, the form of the coyote shifts and changes from just a normal, everyday coyote to a strange mix between a human and a coyote, standing tall on 2 legs, snarling at Wildfire with equal rage.
Red Dirt D&D, Tales from the Caliban Frontier, is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Mak'ren Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Xonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our sound producer is Mark Coughran. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure and subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D and share us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and reddirtdnd.com. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. We have several giving levels to help us grow up big and strong. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban Frontier.